If you had one shot or one opportunity to seize everything you ever wanted in one moment, would you capture it or just let it slip? Yo. His palms are sweaty, knees weak, arms are heavy. There's vomit on his sweater already. Mom's spaghetti, he's nervous, but on the surface he looks calm and ready to drop bombs. But he keeps on forgetting what he wrote down. The whole crowd goes so loud, he opens his mouth, but the words won't come out. He's choking how? Everybody's choking now. The clock's run out, time's up, over, loud. Snap back to reality. Oh, there goes gravity. Oh, there goes gravity. Choke. He's so mad, but he won't give up. Daddies, he know he won't have it. He knows his whole back to these ropes. It don't matter, he's dope. He knows that, but he's broke. He's so stacked that he knows when he goes back to this mobile home, that's when it's back to the lab again, yo. This old rhapsody better go back to this moment and hope it don't pick him.
Listen, we can talk about the flag, but let's talk about Wait.
And very good morning, everybody. Welcome to Trending in the AM right here on DSM Media. We're live, Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, not Twitter. Twitter happens to be down today. So a lot of my Twitter people, you'll be watching this on replay on YouTube. Make sure you do me a favor, as you always should. Make sure you hit the like and subscribe button on the YouTube page. I will personally hand you 2 tickets to an Eagles game this year at the open practice. If by the start of training camp we hit 1,000 subscribers on the YouTube page. So like, subscribe to this video. Share this page out to all your friends. Just walk around the bar. Say, everybody, let's subscribe to this page. They're going to give away 2 free Eagles tickets. You can't beat that prize. I'm taking it out of my pocket and give it to you. I am Phil Stiefel, your host at Bearded Knowledge. My main man, intern Cole, here to my side here, waking up at 5:30 in the morning in Arizona to come on here. He's turning into a superhero. He was bit by a scorpion, has not died. He will be the new Scorpion King by the end of the day. And then, of course, we got Dylan JD 98. It doesn't even matter what his Twitter handle is because you can't go on Twitter right now anyway. From the Poconos. Me, I'm just in my simple little office here. Everybody else is on vacation. Me, I'm just in good old Jennersville, you know? Nobody even knows where Jennersville is. Good morning, gentlemen. How we doing?
Morning, Phil.
We're doing great, Phil. We're doing great, Phil. It's a little early.
How big was that scorpion that got you?
I don't know. I said we saw the scorpion in the house we're staying in. No, I didn't get bit by one. I stayed away from it.
How do you know? You could have been bit by one.
Don't fall asleep around it.
Bit by one in my sleep, but
it
was a baby scorpion. It was a little baby scorpion, but it did like put its like claws up and like open its mouth on my dad when my dad wanted to pick it up.
I just imagine that scene.
Yeah, he was throwing it. He was putting it outside. My dad doesn't like killing living creatures.
I'm imagining that scene from Home Alone where the spider's on the guy and they're smashing it with the crowbar. I just see it like crawling up Cole's chest and his dad just smashing Cole, trying to kill the scorpion.
Yeah.
Anyway, all right, so we got a jam-packed show today. We got to talk Flyers. This is the first time ever in the history of the show that we are going to lead off with Flyers talk. Never done it before, but we have to talk about Chuck Fletcher, the Flyers, the offseason that just started that's already over. Obviously, we got the Phillies Freefalling to the All-Star break. We're going to talk about that later in the show as well. But I don't get to use my Flyers overlay often. What's up with the Flyers? It cuts off the top of my head. Whatever. All good. Nobody wants to see my face anyway. So obviously yesterday, the Flyers guys, everybody knows I'm not a huge Flyers guy. That's on the bottom of my tier of the sports that I can talk about. But obviously there's a lot going on or not going on with the Flyers boys. And it starts with Chuck Fletcher yesterday. And I want to read a quote to you from his press conference, his interview yesterday. And I'm just clipping out one little section here. We're out on all the remaining free agents with the reality of our cap situation right now. It probably precluded us from looking at some of the more expensive options on the market today. But today to us was more about depth signings, getting guys to make us a little bit harder to play and make sure we have some players on 2-way contracts. First off the end there, more about depth signings, guys getting us a little bit harder to play. So to me, Chuck Fletcher's statement basically just said, I am punting on the season before the season even begins. He doesn't even want to be a contender. He wants to make his team a little harder for his opponents to play. And I know there's a cap situation right now with the Flyers are strapped. But Dylan, we'll start with you. Does that not just scream, I've given up already, and we're in the first day of free agency?
There's so much to unpack when it comes to what he said and what happened yesterday and what they were unable to accomplish. Like, if you just going off of his quote right there, right?
Mm-hmm.
A couple months ago, what did he say, Phil? Aggressive retool.
Mm-hmm.
They were going to try to stay competitive. They were going to go through an aggressive retool. They weren't going to rebuild. And now they're doing the complete opposite. They're not just punting this year. Dude, they punted the next couple of years away with what they decided to go through yesterday. They got tougher. I forget was it a wing, left wing or defenseman? I can't even pronounce his last name. Whoever the last guy they signed yesterday. Chuck also said that guys like him are very difficult to come by in the NHL. That's because guys like him don't make the NHL, Chuck. That's why they're difficult to find. So he punted this season, he punted next season, he punted the season after that away. I have no idea the direction he's trying to go because he's all about, what was the rumor yesterday, Phil? He didn't want to attach a first rounder potentially to JVR's contract to open up the space for Johnny Gaudreau, right? My problem with that is, so now all of a sudden he's worried about the future. He's worried about draft picks. You just traded away a second, a third, and a fourth for a dude that no one really wants here in Philadelphia 5 days ago. And last year, I don't mind Rasmus Ristolainen. You traded a first, a second, and a player already on your roster for him, and then extended him to a contract he probably should not have at the moment. Another contract that has you in the position you're in right now. You're a bottom 5 team in cap hell. How does that happen? So Chuck Fletcher's the number one problem, and his statements yesterday made it no better.
Yeah, I mean you're spot on with everything you said there, Cole. You got anything to add there to that?
I mean, it's simple. Dylan said it perfectly. The Flyers had no clear direction, and it's hard. They made moves to win now, to build themselves for the next few years, but then they also didn't take a chance at Johnny Gaudreau to put themselves in a better position, and now they want to do a rebuild. So it was blatant. It was horrible by Chuck Fletcher. As simple as that. Dylan said it perfectly.
One more thing, Phil. Like, he mentioned how they don't have the cap space. Dude, they've been bad since, December. You've had 7+ months you knew he was hitting the market. You knew he wanted to come home. And we'll get to the Johnny Gaudreau portion, I hope, in a couple.
I just want to bring that right up, John. I can't say that name. Gaudreau. I just keep calling him Johnny Hockey. I'm not a hockey savant. Okay, I don't know, but everything I keep reading is he is a top tier NHL player, right? Am I wrong? Am I off base by saying that?
Correct.
Plus points, 40+ goals a season. He's elite, and he's 29 years old. He
28.
did sign 28. He signed a 7 or an 8-year deal. It's like $9 million a year. He signed a pretty big deal, but he wanted to come to Philly because it's his home team. He went to Gloucester Catholic High. So he's from the Philadelphia area, wanted to play for the Flyers. We are in cap hell. You're telling me that if the Flyers said, all right, we figured out a way, he might not have taken a little discount even? Is that hard to imagine? Would he have even taken a little bit of a discount? Look, we can only clear up this much. Instead of $9 million a year, will you take 7.5 to play for your home team, your favorite team growing up? He might have even done that.
Phil, he already took a discount. That's the problem. He showed you where he wanted to be. Calgary put the biggest contract he would have on the table. Calgary put him for over 10.5 a year for like a decade or close to a decade or something like that. And he turned it down. Why? Because he wanted to come back home. Now he couldn't come back home. So he took, think about this. He took instead of 10 for 10.5 or whatever the length of the contract was in Calgary, he left that on the table for 9 in Columbus, all because he wanted to come back east. It's the closest he could get. So, yes, he would have taken a discount here. Now, I'm not saying you could have got the dude for 7.5. You probably could have got Johnny Gaudreau for 8.8, 8.9, 9, somewhere around that area, and you couldn't open up that space. Last thing before I get to goal, because I'm running out of words for this organization. The one other quote you did not read, Phil, was you mentioned how he said, we're done in free agency. We're out on the other free agents remaining. He also said, we were never in on Johnny Gaudreau. Now, timeout. What? You weren't in on the 28-year-old franchise-altering hometown kid who wanted to come play for your shit organization and try to help you win. You weren't in on him. You were never in on him. What does that? It makes you look even worse, dude. You should have just kept your mouth shut. We didn't have the money. Move on. Why didn't you have the money? I didn't do a good enough. Whatever.
Dude,
My God.
Freddie, they're not lowering the prices. If anything, they're going to have to double the prices.
No. And everyone needs to boycott them. I'm dead serious. I don't want to see anybody in Team DSM at a Flyers game. I know COD is going to go. I don't want to see them at a Flyers game. I don't want to see any Flyers jerseys, T-shirts, nothing.
Look, I'll get to you in a second, Cole, but we have at my pizza shop, I've got these very loyal customers, the Campbells. They're an older couple. They've been coming into my pizza shop now for 14 years. They have been Flyers season ticket holders for like 45, 50 years. And they come in every single week, and I always ask them about the Flyers, and they always tell me every year it gets harder and harder for them to pay that fee. And they've had to take – they used to have like center ice tickets, like lower bowl. Now they're like in the cheap sheets way up top. And I guarantee when I see Mr. Campbell this weekend, he's going to say, dude, they took my money for this year, but I kind of wish no. Because it's getting harder and harder for them to justify spending money. I mean, can you imagine the people that have been season ticket holders for 30, 40 years? And those tickets
slap in the face
every year. And then mid-season, they start giving out big discounts to get people into the stadium. But they just paid full price. Dude, let me tell you something.
Star Wars night is back, though, guys. It's okay.
What's that?
Star Wars night is back. It's okay.
Oh, okay. All right. Yeah, that's okay. Yeah. All right. Cole, go ahead.
No. Chuck Fletcher completely, he blew it. He had an opportunity to make Flyers fans excited to, kind of, I wouldn't say completely turn it around, but put this in the right direction. You go out there and get Tony DeAngelo, even though nobody really wanted him. Bad character, but he can help you win right now. Tony DeAngelo is not a player for the future. Why on God's earth would you go out and get Tony DeAngelo if you weren't going to go all in? If you weren't going to go all in, it does not make any sense. And yeah, if they go out there and sign Johnny Gaudreau, they might make the playoffs. They probably could sneak in, but that would be it. But it would just make Flyers fans excited. The Flyers are literally the worst run organization in all of professional sports.
Like you make a great point there, Cole. They went and not all in with Tony DeAngelo, but they showed that they were pushing in that direction. They also pushed that by signing Tortorella.
Yes,
right? That's a playoff contending type team.
Exactly.
Why would you hire Torts if you're not? If you're in tank mode, you're not hiring Torts. So nothing that they're doing makes sense.
What was the point in extending Risto to a 4-year deal this past season? What was the point in that? What was like I said, and Adam's comment up there, they didn't with the JBR contract. It's not that he wanted to dump the contract. Teams knew he was strapped. Teams knew he needed to move JVR's contract. So they said, okay, we'll take his shitty contract. You attach draft compensation. And some teams wanted a first rounder coming back for it. That's what he wanted to do. And I can't wrap my mind around it. If he didn't move any draft picks in the last 5 days, if he didn't move a first rounder last season for a guy that's not even close to that plays a different position, but Risto's not even close to what Johnny Hockey is, right? If he didn't move those picks before, I'd say, okay, he's trying to keep his draft compensation built towards the future. You just moved about 6 picks in these 2 moves I'm talking about, but you won't move one more to go get this kid. None of it makes sense, dude.
There's obviously no direction with Chuck Fletcher. No. And look, Jason has brought it up on this show in the past in our 30-second Flyer segments that we've done like 4 times all year long, that Chuck Fletcher is the problem with the Flyers. So I don't know what Chuck Fletcher's contract is and what the situation is, whether they'll ever move on from him or not. But to me, his statements really do show that they're kind of in a rebuild, retool, kind of not a short-term retool. Like the Eagles, they were in a short-term retool. They missed the playoffs 1 year. They retooled right back to the playoffs. This is not going to be a short, quick fix.
Okay.
We don't want Chuck Fletcher at the helm of any kind of a rebuild, do we, guys?
No.
Sorry.
The Eagles are a very well-run organization. That's the simple fact. Mm-hmm. Howie Roseman, as much as people want to shit on him, is good at his job. He got relieved, came in, retooled the team, won the Super Bowl. Then they, keeps them playoff level, keeps them a solid team for a few years. You know, they drop off for a year. They're supposed to do this full rebuild. It's going to take 2 or 3 years to make the playoffs. The first season they make the playoffs because they are well run, and Howie Roseman is good at his job. The Sixers, as much as people want to hate on Daryl Morley, and I know it's technically Sam Hinkie who brought in Embiid and everything, but even none of our GMs have been as bad as Chuck Fletcher. There is no GM in any sport, in any part of the world.
Is Fletcher worse than Hextall?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. That was a
He might be.
that was a firm answer right there. There's no doubt about it.
Fletcher is the worst GM to ever exist in any professional sport in any part of the world. And it is not even close. It is not even close.
Does he have a punchable face too? Does that make it worse?
Yeah. He might.
I've never. I've only seen
smugness on his face when.
That's what I'm saying, bro. You cannot come up smug. Like it's the same thing JT did the other day. You can't come out smug when what you just did makes you look like an asshole.
So it's all about reading talking about. We talked about earlier this week JT Realmuto and the way he phrased his comments about not playing. And I'm not getting a shot because of a little bit of money. It's reading the room and how to phrase what you say in front of the media and in front of the fans. The way Chuck Fletcher phrased everything yesterday, he was already on the hot seat with the fan base. The Flyers were already on the hot seat with the fan base. And then he comes out yesterday and basically makes the most retarded way of saying everything.
Dude.
He could have just said, look, the offers we got, I just couldn't make those kind of deals for the best interest of this franchise. He could have phrased it in a way that, all right, the diehard Flyers would have been like, all right, I guess, whatever. But he just was so blatantly smug about the way he answered it. It's literally turned the last 3,000 fans that were going to show up and support this team are now against this team. It's pathetic.
Do you follow any of the Flyers beat reporters on Twitter?
Not as much as I should.
Even them, like if you follow the Sixers beat reporters, the Eagles beat reporters, right? Even when the franchise or the coach or the GM is going in a direction or doing something, the fan, doing a bad job, the beat reporters always kind of keep it even keeled, right? Like they don't get too up, they don't get too down about what they put out. I follow 3 different beat reporters: Charlie O'Connor, Ross Joy, and there was one other. And dude, they're on fire on social media, and they were the ones like digging into Chuck and like quote tweeting each other, saying like someone's got to ask him these questions and blah. They're fed up. Mm-hmm. I've never seen beat writers fed up before.
Yeah, and just on a side note, he has a credentialed Flyer member. We're trying to get Jesse Bell on here tomorrow. It's like 90% likely he's going to come on tomorrow to talk about this as well. So stay tuned on our social media pages. If Twitter ever works again, I'll make that announcement later today. Look, Cole, you brought up Sam Hinkie a second ago. Sam Hinkie wasn't a basketball mind. He was just a businessman and an analytics guy.
I love Sam Hinkie.
I do too. I think Sam Hinkie should never gotten kicked out of Philly.
Oh no. He absolutely should have been fired.
No. I would love. Did you guys ever watch the What If, the Marvel What If cartoons? I would love a what if Sam Hinkie was never fired from the Flyers, or the Sixers. Look, I'm looking. I want to talk about the Flyers part of it. Should the Flyers go into their own version of the process and start a tank and strip it down? Should they hire somebody like Sam Hinkie, someone that knows nothing about hockey, that's just an asset acquiring guy, and just break it down? Because honestly, the Flyers where they're at right now are not making the playoffs, and they have no direction. So you need a direction as an organization. And I don't know if the process, the tanking, would work in hockey like it does in basketball, because it works in a lot of basketball teams tank.
You can't tank in hockey as much, because when you do that, you put a lot of chance of people getting hurt.
Okay.
Same with football. Like when there's a lot of contact, you can't really tank as much. You can't just throw games, because that's how people get hurt. But I will say this, they absolutely should do something similar to that. And you know what the best way to do it is? Get the man himself. Fire Chuck Fletcher and bring in Sam Hinkie. I don't care if he doesn't know shit about hockey.
Why not?
And then as soon as you start to get good, then you fire the guy. That's what you have to do. Because if Sam Hinkie would have been the GM when the Sixers were supposed to turn the table, they would suck.
That's a debate for. I would love to. We're going to do a pre-recorded show, and we're just going to talk about all the moves that were made after Sam Hinkie left, and see what the move would have been if Sam Hinkie was there. Me and you, Cole, we got to start talking about that. I want to do a what if scenario.
Listen, I love Sam Hinkie. There's no question about that. I just think that the Sixers wouldn't be as good as they were if they
All right.
would have kept Sam Hinkie.
Okay. All right. Dylan, go ahead.
No. Now, am I for stripping it down a little bit? Yeah. Unless there is, I think it's much more difficult to do in hockey. You can have all the assets you want. You can have all the top 3 draft picks you want. Let's just look back to Nolan Patrick, see how that worked out. It's what you do with those assets. And then B, unless there's a Joel Embiid sitting somewhere in the hockey world, it's not going to work. Dude, like, I don't know. It doesn't get talked about enough. If Joel Embiid doesn't figure it out, if he doesn't start to get healthy, if Joel Embiid's not the MVP that he is, the process doesn't work.
Right.
How many failed picks did they have to run through to get Joel Embiid out of?
Not about picks, and that's where people are wrong. The process and the tanking that the Sixers did, that I'm talking about with the Flyers, is to acquire assets,
right?
So that you can acquire players through the draft or free agency. And they ended up with the assets to not just get Joel Embiid, but they ended up with the assets to get Jimmy Butler. But
Jimmy Butler only comes and James Harden only comes if Joel Embiid's here in the first place. And if that's a missed pick, you're still stuck.
If you have the assets to trade for the stars. You know, like right now, if we had assets, you could be talking about trading for Donovan Mitchell, you know, and things like that. Like you need assets to trade for stars. So like right now, if we had assets, the Flyers, if they had a plethora of assets, could have made a trade to get rid of JVR to get Johnny Hockey.
It's just they have, because I mean, technically they could have just moved one of the assets and chose not to.
Well, they could have, but they don't have enough. Like what I'm saying, the process is about acquiring enough where even if you miss on one, you still have more.
Miss on one,
Jimmy Butler situation, we still had more assets.
Miss on about 80.
Oh yeah, that's another whole subject. So so I'm gonna bring up a really. So I'm talking about I'm all for the Flyers because, like I said, I don't pay enough attention anymore to the Flyers, so I don't care if we don't have great hockey for 2 or 3 more years. If we have a 10-win hockey team, it isn't going to be anything for me. But the end result of being a championship caliber team would get me excited again.
Absolutely.
Should the Flyers, and this is going to be my bold hot take, because it's going to bring in the most amount return right now. Should the Flyers trade Carter Hart right now and bring in a boatload of assets, draft picks, et cetera, et cetera? He's 24 years old? He's still a borderline elite goaltender. On the right team, he might be an elite goaltender.
Right. Struggled
with a great defense behind him. Should you trade Carter Hart right now to start the rebuilding process?
Probably. My only question is, if the Flyers move Carter Hart, does Carter Hart have to change his name?
Yeah.
That would actually be quite.
He can't stay Carter Hart 79. I mean, he doesn't exist anymore. At this point,
I want the Flyers to trade him so much. Yeah. See what the new name is.
I'm at this point, I don't care. Like, you've left me just speechless and no desire to watch this hockey team this year. Like, they are now. I don't even watch soccer. They're number 5.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they've fallen to number 5 in this city, and I don't see in a year, in 2, maybe even in 3, where they're even viable to compete for a playoff spot. Mm-hmm. So maybe I'm wrong, and maybe next season somehow they have a miraculous offseason. But yeah, I move him, move Konechny,
move them all.
I have to move Coots. Pro Rob might bring you back the most. I don't know. Move everybody.
Right, Freddie Defoe's on board. It's a crying shame a guy with his talent has to languish in this organization.
Yeah, man.
I mean, I agree. I don't know what else to say about it. Look, guys, I say I'm not a hockey guy, but I actually used to be a hockey guy. You wouldn't know this by listening to this show, but outside of the Phillies, I've been to more regular season hockey games than Eagles games or Sixers games combined.
Dude, it's such a shame.
I've probably been to 60 hockey games in my life. I've probably been to 30 playoff hockey games in my life.
Yeah, and there's nothing better.
Like,
that's what sucks about
hockey games in any sport combined. Playoff games.
Listen,
I used to spend hard-earned money to go see preseason hockey games because I enjoyed hockey that much. And now, I probably watched 5 minutes of hockey last year. and that was only because I accidentally clicked the wrong channel. And seriously, it's a joke, but it's not a joke. Sorry, go ahead, Cole.
We all love the Flyers, but they don't love us. They hate us. This is like a toxic relationship where they just deliver toxic blows and cause so much pain, and we just keep going back, and we're tired of it. We're tired of it.
Got to start to learn from it.
Yeah,
I'm in Phil's, but I learned from it. Dude, that's my biggest problem with how this offseason played out, and yesterday played out. Where they were last year, they made move. The Ryan Ellis trade at the time was a fantastic move. Now the injury is unfortunate, and he's probably not even going to play this season, so that's a wash. But that was a great move. He was a top 5 left defenseman in the league at the time. I like the Rista move, even though you gave up the first and the second. You got tough. You got another second defenseman. The Cam Atkinson trade was spectacular, and it started off spectacular. You got Keith Yandel for 1 year for cheap. You went out, you got Derek Brassard. I thought they had a great offseason. I talked to Parcero in October of last year and talking about all 4 of these teams, and I'm like, the Flyers may be the best or second best team in this city right now. And wow,
turned out
that may be the worst take of my podcasting career. And where they're at now is just.
Do you think John Tortorella is Cole? Do you think John Tortorella regrets?
Maybe they pull a fast one and somehow are miraculously good, and they flip the script on you.
It's not a chance.
Not a chance. No, there's not a chance.
For Torts,
is Torts
probably
regretting his decision to come to Philadelphia already? Absolutely. He hasn't even coached a game yet.
Absolutely, he's absolutely. I don't know if Tortorella lasts I don't know if Tortorella is the coach after the season.
I said when he was hired that I couldn't see him making it a full season.
I do. I don't think it's as much because of the organization. I don't think it's.
Yeah, I think it's an organization failure. I don't think it's anything that he's going to do this year. I think it's whatever their mindset is, whatever their idea of this roster is right now. It's just incorrect. I truly believe Fletcher is going to go out there this year, and I know he's not dumb enough to think they can compete, but I think he's dumb enough to think Torts has pieces in place that he can work with. They have nothing, dude. Absolutely zilch, nothing. Couturier's another year older. He's your number one. He's your first line center. Konechny has done nothing in the last 3 seasons. Yeah, and what was the point in waiving Oscar Lindblom then? I don't get what was the point?
At least keep him for the emotional lift that he brings the team.
Right, if I thought that was the first stepping stone towards Johnny Hockey.
Yeah,
not
exactly.
You waived him, someone that everybody loved and fought for, and he fought to come back to this team. All for, like I said, I can't even pronounce the dude's name.
It's Cooper Morty.
No, not even that guy. The guy that he's a tough ass. I can't even pronounce it. Declaris. I don't know, dude.
Hockey names.
I know you're talking about that. I know you're talking about.
So look, I'm going to ask you a really stupid hockey question, guys. Who's in charge of the Flyers right now? Who do we need to petition to fire Chuck Fletcher? Because until Chuck Fletcher's gone, this organization is going to keep with no direction. And whoever's in charge can't be happy. Comcast is in charge. Who's the CEO of Comcast?
Let's go stand outside of Xfinity and just.
Dude, they don't care. They don't care.
Because people keep spending the money. Because even though they put out this lazy half-ass product, they still charge a premium to season ticket holders.
I think they'll suffer this year. I'm being dead. If you watched if you just turned on a Flyers game from January on last year, dude, they couldn't have had more than 6,000 people.
Right. But the season ticket holders were still paying for those tickets, even though they weren't.
Right. Yeah, I know.
So,
which is a damn shame. They should all be allowed to buy. They should all be allowed to get their money back if they want to.
Absolutely. Yeah, they're gonna definitely see a dip. We until we see the end of the Chuck Fletcher era, there's going to be no tanking. There's going to be no process. There's going to be no rebuild. There's going to be no retool. There's going to be no playoff hockey.
We're
just going to stay in this little circle. It's like he's like a dog chasing.
DSM needs to put in a bid to own the Flyers.
What's that?
DSM media needs to put in a bid to own the Flyers.
Yeah.
Because if they did, if we own the Flyers, Johnny Hockey would be wearing orange and black.
Yeah, I'll Venmo them.
Yeah. Sorry to Jake. Yeah. I tweeted right before the show. I tweeted black and gold instead of black and orange. But then Twitter went down, so I couldn't even edit the tweet or make a comment. Yeah, I don't even know what colors my Flyers hockey are. I said gold by accident because
what are you? Are you secretly a Penguins fan, Phil? Are you secretly a Penguins fan?
Absolutely.
Dude, I'm sorry. I can't believe they let him speak yesterday. What came out of his mouth? Did he go over that with anybody before he got on the podium? Or was he like he's in charge, so
He
he
doesn't
went
have
out
a
and said,
boss. It's not like his boss is Comcast. It's not like the Eagles where they have Howie Roseman as the GM president, and then Jeffrey Lurie is a hands-on owner. It's not like with the Sixers where Josh Harris is a semi-hands-on owner. John Middleton is walking around Citizens Bank Park, shaking hands with the fans. He's at least there. Do you think someone from Comcast is in that building all the time, staying on top of Chuck Fletcher? No. And that's the problem. That's why the Flyers need to be sold. They need to be sold right now.
Yep.
And until then, we're screwed as Flyers fans. Completely screwed.
Because there's no accountability up top because no one cares enough. No,
Freddie Defoe wants to chip in on this DSM purchase of the Flyers.
You're in, Freddie.
You're in. You got a couple $100 million, please? I don't. So
start a GoFundMe.
Yeah, there we go. Let's start I bet you, Dylan, if you start a DSM GoFundMe to buy the Flyers, I guarantee you within the end of the week, there's $1,000 in that account.
Probably, and then we'd have to give everyone their money back.
I mean, the franchise might not be worth more than $1,000.
I know.
Comcast might be willing to cut their losses at this point.
Yeah.
All right. You guys got anything else to wrap this Flyers talk? I don't think I've ever spent 30 minutes on a podcast talking Flyers.
Me neither. And no, I'm good.
Yeah.
I hate them.
Dylan looks so dejected right now.
Oh, Dylan,
I'm being dead serious. Why do I have this on my arm now?
Yeah.
Why do I like?
You should say DSM Media.
It should. Well, I got to get the leg tat still.
Yeah.
You have to get the what?
The leg tat.
He's got to get a DSM.
The DSM leg tat.
You get a DSM leg tat.
Yeah, bro.
He lost a bet on TikTok and he never fulfilled his bet.
When was this?
I'll get it done.
At the very beginning, Carter had to get the DSM TikTok to 1,000 followers by a certain date, and if he did, Dylan was going to get a DSM tattoo. And Carter obviously had that challenge now down in no time. And Dylan has slowly avoided this conversation. I try to bring it up every time I see Dylan on the air.
I'll get it. I don't care.
I don't know. He's avoiding it. I see that.
Gotta get us to 5,000, and I'll get it real big all down
right on your forehead.
Yeah,
right there.
No, don't do that on your forehead. No, don't do that on your forehead. Don't agree to that. He'll hold you to it.
I should get the lip tat.
Oh, DSM lip tat too. If they hit 5,000.
Yeah,
that one would hurt a lot. All right, let's move on from the Flyers, guys, because they're not the only organization in Philadelphia that is struggling right now. The Phillies, who we're also mighty and high on for a little while there, are in a complete free fall now. Lost 4 in a row now. They're now out of the wild card. They've now lost 2. They lost 2 to the Blue Jays there. They got swept. They lost the last 2 against the Cardinals. Going to Miami, a team that always gives us fits, who's not a bad baseball team. We're 3 games away from the All-Star break. Dude, if we do not come out and sweep this Marlins team, if we lose 1 or 2 more games before this break, this season is in jeopardy of completely free falling out of control, in my opinion.
I would say the All-Star break's going to catch. If the Phillies have to win the series, I feel like.
Flyers overlay off the screen here.
Yeah, I feel like the Phillies have to win the series.
Yeah.
And if they do, I feel like the All-Star break will catch them from completely free falling.
What I'm saying, if they go 1-2 or 0-3,
no,
All-Star break is going to be.
They're going to rip right through the All-Star break and just start tumbling out of control.
Mm-hmm.
And we saw it this week. The attitude from people that are supposed to be leaders in the locker room sucks. Mm-hmm. JT Realmuto is a bum. Like he's a bum. He's a bum.
Played like a bum this season too, but
it's not even about the him not getting the shot. I couldn't care less.
Exactly.
It's the fact that you let your team down and then you go up there and you're a dick about it.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I wasn't gonna get a shot over a little bit of money. Fuck you, JT. That's
pretty
what
angry about that. Cole.
What?
I am too.
No.
You're supposed. It's the leadership. Alec Boehm not getting it. It's a bad teammate move. But Alec Boehm is a younger guy who's making like $700,000 a year. It's whatever. Aaron Nola. I was disappointed in him doing it too. Aaron Nola didn't go out and make comments and make it seem like it's no big deal. Kyle Gibson, he sucks anyway. No, him not playing probably helped us. And then you got JT Realmuto, your catcher, who's making $20+ million a year, who's supposed to be your leader. You see, the Birds agree with me too. Who's supposed to be your leader, goes out there, doesn't get it, lets his team down, and it's all right, whatever, especially without Bryce, especially without Gene, and then goes up and is an asshole about it. That's what got on my nerves.
It is, I agree with you 110%. It's reading the room. It's knowing what to say in front of the media in a city like Philadelphia. You do not go up there and I'm just whatever. The money doesn't matter to me. There's a lot of people struggling right now in the world. That money means a lot to a lot of people. So that's that. We covered all that.
To a lot of people, if seeing the Phillies make the playoffs, just seeing make the playoffs, and you have a chance where you're going in to a 2-game series where you got to win at least one. You're already missing other guys. You should have made an appointment right away, got the damn shot, gone out there and played. I don't care. You're letting your team down.
I agree with all that, and I agree with the comments.
There was actually a few of the Phillies that went. I think it's like 3 weeks before and got their shot so they could go.
So they didn't let their team down.
I think a couple of young guys. I think Matt Vierling and I think Bryson Stott were on that list of guys that went.
Because I don't care. I don't care necessarily about like the vaccine status itself does not matter at all to me. I understand it's personal. You're in a business. You have a job. You have people relying on you, and you did not do it, and they were an asshole about it.
Well, I agree. Don't get me wrong. I agree with you. What's the name? The way I look at it is it's never going to happen. But could you just say, God forbid, the Phillies met the Blue Jays in the World Series? You just weren't going to play 3 or 4 of the games because Canada can't tell you what to do.
I will fly to Philadelphia and give him the shot myself.
Yeah, well, it's the same thing we dogged Kyrie Irving for all this past year. Now, it just so happened that Brooklyn didn't allow him to play there either. But yeah, so they don't get a pass just because it's JT, right? So I agree with all that. When it comes to the series, I don't think they have to sweep, Phil. They have to win the series, obviously. Mm-hmm. I'm whatever about now. Losing 4 straight after how hot they were is tough. At the end of the day, they lost the last 2 in St. Louis. You split 2-2 in St. Louis. You took over the wild card. That was great. Going to Toronto, I knew that was going to be tough. I don't know why everyone expected 1 of 1. So you're missing Bryce and Gene already from your lineup. Now you're missing we know the reasons, but you're missing Bohm and JT. You're missing 4 starters in that lineup against a very, very good offensive Blue Jays team on the road. And the first game of the 2, you had Bellotti starting with the bullpen game. Yes, I don't think anyone saw Wheeler getting shelled for 6 or 5 or 6 last night, and that was the game we were hoping to win. But at the end of the day, I kind of figured they were losing both to Toronto. Toronto's a very good offensive baseball
Toronto really
team.
that good? I mean, Toronto's so bad that after winning game 1, they had to fire their manager.
But they're not bad though, because they had a big lead, or they have a lead they're in a playoff spot right now. I think it was just I thought the report I read was it was more so just a leadership thing in the locker room and his account, whatever he was doing in the locker room. They didn't like him for that, but they're very good offensively. And apparently what they were able to do to the Phillies hitters this series worked. So losing 2 there doesn't kill me. Now it's how you respond now. And what they've done since hiring Thompson, since promoting Thompson after firing Girardi, is they've responded well in every bad situation they've been in. You've lost 4 straight. You're going to Miami before the break. Don't put it on cruise control yet. Don't just coast to the finish line, to the midway point, because at that point, instead of a 2-game lead in the wild card, you might be 3 games out back again.
They're 1 game down. They're 1 game back right now. The Phillies are 1 game back.
I know that, and that's fine. I just meant from when you took the 2-game lead over the Cardinals before. But take 2 of 3 against Miami. They're not a bad team. I know they always give us fits, especially on the road. But go win. JT's back. Bohm should be back with the dislocated finger. Castellanos is on a hit streak, but he still seems to have no idea what he's doing.
He actually had a double last night. That was
dude. I think he's on like a 9 or 10 game hit streak.
He's starting to figure things out. That's the thing. Castellanos is on a long, bad, deep slump, and you don't really just snap out of those. You kind of work your way out of it. So this getting 1 hit a night thing is kind of his way of working his way out of it.
I mean, no, go ahead.
Castellanos' struggles wouldn't be as objectified if you had Harper and Segura in the lineup and you weren't losing Bohm and JT.
Right. No, I agree. I just think he was the guy when Schwarber was hot, which he's obviously cooled off a little bit as the last 4 or 5 games. Right. You needed Castellanos to really step up. And listen, the hit streak's nice, but going 1 for 4, 1 for 5 every night probably isn't going to cut it, especially with no power. But if you just look at the lineup. You go Schwarber, Hoskins, Castellanos, great. Derek Hall, fan favorite, got it. Bryson Stott, who's hitting about $160, is your 5-hole hitter. Matty V's next. Didi, Munoz, who should not be on this roster. I know they need him right now, but should not be on this roster. And then Stubbs had to get. What did you expect?
Well, all right. So what I think what I'm trying to theorize here in my head and try to find the right way to say it without insulting anybody. It's Rob Thompson. As just as much as the injuries and just as much as the COVID-related stuff in Toronto, Rob Thompson isn't managing what he's got well enough right now. There's a reason why Rob Thompson's been in baseball for 30-plus years as an assistant and has never gotten a shot to be the guy in the chair. I made some Tony Soprano and Sopranos references in honor of Tony Sirico yesterday. And Tony Soprano once said, "You don't understand the pressure I am being in the number 1 seat. You don't have to make the big decisions." And Rob Thompson's kind of, the honeymoon phase is over. Castellanos struggling. All right, well, you shouldn't have him in the 3-hole. I know there's no one else to put in the 3-hole, but you know what? Don't let that problem compound itself by leaving Nick Castellanos in that 3-hole. You're making it worse. The way he's handling these bullpen games. You mentioned Bellotti started the game the other day. Bellotti was in the closer's role by Rob Thompson a few weeks ago. And he goes from the closer role to this first. You got Chris Sanchez starting sometimes and sometimes coming in these relief games for 3 innings midway through the game. There's no structure to what Rob Thompson at this point.
And he had it. That's the weird part. He's
trying to run out of magic. And he doesn't know what to do because he doesn't know how to really realistically manage a baseball team. That's why he's an assistant and not a head guy.
Let me ask you this. If the Phillies make the playoffs, do you think Rob Thompson's the manager next year?
Maybe. He shouldn't be, but maybe he is.
If they make the playoffs, do you think he's the manager next year?
Maybe.
If they miss the playoffs.
No, if they miss the playoffs, he's gone no matter what, whether I want him or not.
That's why I stand.
If they do make the playoffs, he probably will get a chance.
Yeah, and I think that's fair. I think that would absolutely be fair. You brought this team to the playoffs for the first time in over a decade. I mean, after the way this season started was spiraling out of control, you grab this thing and you put it back on the rails. Whether it's been, the Phillies have been very streaky. They've been gone on multiple solid winning streaks. They've also gone on some bad losing streaks. And Rod Thompson, he's 31 and no, not 31. It's 26
and 27 and they've lost 4 straight now, so probably 14.
Yeah. 15. That's still for what they were 26 and 36 when Rob Thompson took over. 10 games under 500. It was Memorial Day, and we all thought the season was over. And as maybe it wasn't obviously all him, but whatever he did got this team back on the rails, got this team in the playoff position by the 4th of July. And now we're after that. We're about to be in August, and we're have a shot.
Maybe this is naive of me.
Rob Thompson's done well. I'm counting the games right now. His record overall seems good, but he's 7-8 in his last 15. Because he's a 4-game streak, 3-game winning streak, 2-game winning streak, 2-game losing streak, 2-game winning streak, 2-game losing. They're literally average.
Comes in pairs.
Their last 15 games.
Comes in pairs.
I feel you, but you got to remember though, Phil. In the last 15 games, they played the Cardinals 7 times. They played the Braves 3 times.
Absolutely. There's Blue Jays twice. Yes, there's actually a tough stretch of games here. I get that you're missing guys for injuries and backs and all that kind of stuff. I get all that. But when you watch, I don't know how much you've watched, but I've been trying to watch more and more Phillies.
I've watched them.
The energy isn't there. The life of this team isn't there.
There's
a spark missing. And yes, it might be because of Bryce Harper being gone.
It's because Bryce Harper and Gene Segura are gone, and then you got Bohm getting hurt. Then you got JT and Nola and Gibson all on that COVID list. So there's no real spark when half the team's not going to be there.
Listen, this might be very naive of me because we've seen this movie before. We've seen the Phillies reel us in and then throw us back in, and reel us back in and throw us back. I know they've lost 4 straight, and it's not good after how hot they were. I'm just not. Maybe I'm on cruise control till the All-Star break. But I'm not worried because I look at how it played out. Yes, it's 4 in a row, but like I said, You ended up splitting with the Cardinals in St. Louis. You basically did your job. Would have been nice to win the series, hell yes, but you went 2-2, and then it was unfortunate with how many guys they were missing in Toronto. It's how the cards fell that right now. So you do have to bounce back. It's 110%. You cannot lose the series to Miami, because then I will be worried and I will be talking about how the honeymoon phase is over. But until that happens, I'm not there yet. I think they win the series because they bounced back in every tough situation so far.
Oh, go ahead, Cole. Go ahead.
I feel like I'm known to make some very hot and bold takes.
No.
You? Yeah. I don't know. Kyle Schwarber's hitting me off home run tonight. No, I'm kidding. The Phillies are going to make the playoffs. I said it when Girardi was still here that I think this team turns it around and makes the playoffs. Not only do I think they make the playoffs, I think they're going to make some noise in there too, and they're going to shock some people. That is what I will say. So the Phillies are going to make the playoffs, and they're going to make some noise.
See, I would love to have that confidence, Cole. But we've talked about and bashed Chuck Fletcher. We've talked about Howie Roseman and Sam Hinkie and all these GMs today. But Dave Dombrowski is still sitting. Like, we are missing a lot of players right now. We are now going to our 6th or 7th series where we got to have a bullpen start.
Yeah.
Because again, we've got Nolan Gibson going on bookending this series. But in the middle, there's going to be another bullpen game. You still got Segura out for at least another 4 or 5 weeks. You still got Harper out for another 6 weeks. You've got issues across this team. And Dombrowski has not even flinched at making a move.
I do think the Phillies.
The longer Dombrowski waits, these streaks, we go on these big winning streaks and we go on these big losing streaks. You coast in the All-Star break. Just say they lose 2 out of 3 in this Marlins series, and you coast in the All-Star break with that negative taste in your mouth. It can snowball. I'm not trying to be the negative person on this show, but this can snowball. And Dombrowski is doing this team a disservice by not trying to find whether you get a center fielder, whether you get anybody, a starting pitcher, anything. You need to make a move now.
They're going. I do think they will make a move. There's no way the Phillies.
You can't wait till the trade deadline in a month.
August 2nd's a long time away.
Yeah, you can't wait till the end of the month of July to make a move. You're going. You can have 3 more 4-game losing streaks by that point.
Right. They probably have what? They have a series now, a short All-Star break for the week. They probably have what? 3 series left, maybe 3.5, 4 series.
Right now, I have the first half still because I was looking at this Marlins series. Let me pull up the second half of the schedule here. Freaking ESPN doesn't like to work right now in the middle of a show. There we go. What's that?
You're having all technical difficulties today, Phil.
Yeah. I'm terrible. This whole backup computer thing isn't working for me today. Not at all. I don't know what's going on. Yeah, I don't know what's going on. Anyway,
I'll get it. Jesus.
Yeah, whatever. Yo, do something for a change, Dylan. Stop. Yo, put the drink down. I know you've been drinking a lot on vacation. Put the drink down at 9:20 and do some work for a change.
Run shot in your cereal.
I gotta hydrate.
Cereal.
So I put a poll question because Twitter's down. I can't pull up the results right now. Put up a poll question yesterday, and we've been doing all these bullpen games. Mark Appel. I know the whole story of Mark Appel. First, number 1 overall pick, left baseball because he couldn't handle it. Back, having a great season. He's called up. He's pitching pretty decently out of our bullpen. Went 3 innings in relief the other day. Instead of starting the game, came in like the 3rd, 4th, 5th, or 4th, 5th, 6th inning. Pitched pretty decently. Some say yes. Some say no. Some say, what do you got to lose? Should the Phillies consider at least asking Mark Appel, would you stretch out and be a starting pitcher till we figure this out?
I mean, I'm full on the what do you have to lose train. Like who cares? Like if it doesn't work
at this point, does it matter?
Because you put him out there, you roll him out there with the intention that he's a starter, and if it doesn't work, well, guess what? You have a bullpen game like it would have been.
Right, exactly.
Like what? I'd rather you can roll the dice, and if it doesn't work, great. Because what was your alternative? Starting Bilotti? Like who really cares?
Yeah. The guy that closed the game a few weeks ago.
Right. They have 4 series until the trade deadline. They're at Miami this weekend. After the break, they're home versus the Cubs. for 3. Then they're home versus Atlanta for 3, which you would really hope to win that series. And then you're at the Pirates for 4, which you need to win that series. And then they're off. And then August 2nd, they're in Atlanta for 2, and that's the day of the trade deadline.
Interesting.
It's August 2nd this year.
Yeah.
I
It
don't
got
know.
pushed back.
They got it. Dombrowski should be wheeling and dealing here right now during the All-Star break, not waiting till that Cubs or look. The Pirates series is going to be a big series because there's quite a few Pirates that are on the trade market. So you might see somebody switch dugouts mid-series there. You know what I mean? But you don't want to wait that long. You got to be making it. Look, Jose Quintana, he's having a really good rebound season for the Pirates right now. He's not going to cost you what Frankie Montas is going to cost you. Why isn't Dombrowski making that phone call right now?
Yeah, no.
Get Frankie Montas here. Get Jose Quintana. It's a rental. I get that. But you know what? He's older. You go out and you make a move. You see what it's going to take to get Frank to get him.
Not a starting pitcher, but a guy that Twitter that some writers have said to keep your eye on for the Phillies with that center field position with Benintendi in Kansas City. Speaking of vac status, Benintendi is not making the trip to Toronto. Neither is like half of the Royals team because they're unvaccinated. So that hurts his trade stock. And he's on fire this season. So you might be able to snag Andrew Benintendi for a little cheap because of that vac status. I know we don't want much more of him on the team because God forbid if the Phillies were to those two teams were to collide in the World Series. But it's going to make him.
That would be a total disaster if that
happened. It's not going to happen. But I'm just saying, God forbid it was to happen. But it's going to make Benintendi a lot more difficult to trade in the AL. So more enticing for the NL team, specifically the Phillies.
Casey's saying that they're going to write the shit. Look, they are a streaky team. There's literally no doubt about it. That's what we've been preaching about this team since day one. Dombrowski have just built a roster full of hitters that are streaky as can be. Problem is they're all streaking hot and all streaking cold at the same exact time.
Yeah, so, I really thought they would mesh a little bit well. Like I thought, the beginning of the season.
Segura is not a streaky hitter. He's one of the few non-streaky guys, and he's been out for how long now? Bryce Harper is not really a streaky hitter, big picture. And now we've been missing him for a few weeks. I think that's kind of losing Segura was a much bigger issue to this team than people give credit for. He solidified that 2-hole. He literally glued this team together in that lineup. So
he's a contact guy that's going to hit for around 300. Maybe he was hitting for a little above this season. But it's not only that, Phil. It's not what he brings. It's what's on the field now. Like Munoz being in every night is not going to work. Vierling having to play second and third is not going to work because then he comes in. Well, guess what? Odubel or Moniak's got to be put out in center field. Like it's a domino effect with all these dudes getting injured. It's not just missing their bat. It's they don't even have a close replacement.
Mm-hmm. All right, so we start tonight. Miami Marlins. You got Gibson tonight.
Tomorrow.
No,
yeah.
Today's Thursday. Oh shit, today's Thursday. Yeah, damn.
Today's Thursday.
I don't even know what day it is.
The age's getting to you, Phil. The age's getting to you, man.
You would think you're the one on vacation,
dude. The age got to me years ago. Come on now. So we got a day off. Oh, that's awesome. You got Gibson on the mound, then a bullpen game, and Nola, guys. Start with you, Cole. Play out the series. How's it going to go, and how are we going to head into this All-Star break?
So, game one, Kyle Schwarber's leadoff home run. Phillies. I've been right a couple times on that, Dylan.
Okay.
Well, when you guess it every game, it's going to pan out.
I've not guessed every game because I didn't talk about the Phillies for a while. But Phillies win game one. We'll go 6-3.
Okay.
I think if you come out and they take game one, they're going to drop game two though. Mm-hmm. And I think they'll game three that's
Nola start.
That's what Nola?
Yeah.
They're going to win that one. I think they win that one. We'll say let's pull some numbers out of my ass here. 4-2. So there you go. So
you just say win, lost, win. Which if we go that route, that gives me a smidge of positivity heading into the All-Star break.
Yeah.
Dylan.
I think they win the series. Sweeping is going to be difficult, especially with Gibson being one of the starts, you never know. You could get 8-inning, 2-hit Kyle Gibson. You could get 3-inning, 18-hit Kyle Gibson. And just something him in Miami feels wrong. Like I feel frustration coming. I don't know. The bullpen game's also going to be tough, but I do think they find a way to win too. My big thing, I know this sounds crazy out of the 3 starting pitchers, but Nola's the one that has to lock it down in the game that he's pitching. Like it happened the other night. Now, I forget what he ended up giving up. It wasn't terrible in St. Louis, I don't think, but he was cruising, dude. And he was through 4. I think he finished 4 with 36 pitches and like 5 or 6 strikeouts. He gets to the 5th, and the wheels fall off. And now here's single, double, single. That can't happen. You cannot be the 1B to the 1A in this situation. And so he's the one that has to lock it down in his start. And you have to hope that either Gibson can go deep or the bullpen can surprise you like they have been recently for the most part, and win a game in Miami. But I think they'll take 2 or 3. They'll right the ship, and they'll head into the All-Star break with some positivity.
Yeah, see, guys, I'm not feeling that positivity, guys. I Gibson, just like you said, Gibson
You're just holding grumpy, Phil. You're just holding grumpy.
I'm a realist. I just don't. Yeah, I am.
That's the worst. That is that is like the worst thing to say about when people talk about them being a sports fan. Oh, I'm a realist. What?
I just don't like to get myself too hyped up and let myself down. Cole, when you're 41 and you've been let down as many times as I have been in Philly sports, you might not hype yourself up as much.
But what I'm saying, I get your real. I'm not taking Cole's route here. What I'm saying is,
you literally are taking Cole's route.
No. You're saying you're a realist because you think they're going to lose. My point is, what happens when they win 2 or 3? You can't call yourself a realist then because you were wrong about the situation.
Say I was wrong.
See, nobody ever says they're a realist and then says something positive. It's always
but that's not. But I don't know. I'm confusing myself now thinking about realists. Forget it.
Look, I have a reason why. Can I say why?
No,
I guess so.
Not on your show. You cannot talk about your reasons why on your show, Phil.
Get a hold of it.
Done. Show's over. Forget
it.
No. Look, Kyle Gibson, you get either 8-inning, 2-run Kyle Gibson or 2-inning, 8-run Gibson. Just like Dylan said, something doesn't seem right with Miami and Kyle Gibson. I don't have the confidence in that. You're already on a 4-game losing streak. That makes it a 5-game losing streak. Then you go for the bullpen game. And I said it the other day, and I'll say it again. For some reason, Rob Thompson doesn't know how to manage a bullpen game. Someone's got to get in his ear and teach him how to manage this. He's got a different guy starting every bullpen game. And on top of that, then puts the guy that starts, like Chris Sanchez starts one bullpen game, then comes in the 4th the next one. Bellotti starts one, and then you get Sanchez. He has no rhythm. Like, dude, just you could start the same bullpen guy. Nick Nelson started a few of them really well, then all of a sudden isn't starting any of them again. He's got to figure that out. It seems like we're going to be doing a lot of bullpen games here for a while. So Scotty says it's a positive realist. There we go. I like that phrasing right there. But
that's fair.
While I think the Phillies
Phil's a negative realist.
No, I'm just a realist.
Yeah. I'm just a realist.
No, because Scotty's young and isn't grumpy like Phil.
I am not grumpy. I'm probably the happiest member of Team DSM.
Maybe.
I don't think that's true.
I'm a woosah. I'm a peace, love, and understanding type guy. I never get mad. I never get mad. I never get angry. I don't care. I'm the most chill person there is. But see, as negative as I am in those first 2 games, just like Dylan said, I think Aaron Nola comes out and does what he's supposed to do and shuts down the Marlins in Game 3. Now, can you be positive going into the break? We'll end it right here. Losing the first 2 games of the series, that means you're on a 6-game losing streak. But then Aaron Nola comes out and puts the hammer down and you win 7-0 or 7-1 on Sunday and then head into the All-Star break. Is that enough positivity where the free fall stops? I'm hoping so. We'll see. But that's how I see it coming to go. You hit a 6-game losing streak. Aaron Nola comes out, shuts the door, stops the bleeding, and then we go into the All-Star break. And Kyle Schwarber wins the home run derby to energize the team.
And wins All-Star Game MVP.
Sure, let's go that. There's my positivity for the day right there.
The
And then
last
it
thing
counts
I'll
over
say.
starts the All-Star game off with a leadoff home run.
There
Okay.
you go. Yeah.
The
Sure.
last thing I'll
Why
say
not?
is what asshole made this schedule for the Phillies?
I don't know.
Who put them 9 straight on the road heading into the All-Star break? How is that fair? 4 in St. Louis, 2 in
A lot of
Toronto,
traveling, too.
3
Yeah.
in Miami. Are you joking?
Yeah. That's a lot. It's a lot of travel.
A lot of
right there.
games.
J.O.
that you're
All right,
not
we're gonna wrap
playing.
this up here for the
Nice.
day. Trending in the AM on DSM Media. The first time ever spending 30+ minutes talking Flyers hockey. We've been doing this show for like 6 months, and I've not spent more than 3 total minutes talking Flyers hockey. We're gonna try to bring Flyers hockey back tomorrow as well. Trying to lock down Jesse Bell, but I need Twitter to start working again so I can lock that down. Jason will be back tomorrow. We'll talk some more football tomorrow. We'll continue. I wanted to bring up more Jalen Hurts talk with you guys today, but unfortunately, the Flyers took
My
precedent.
guy, Jalen Hurts.
Yeah, man. We had a lot of fun talking that Derek Gunn conversation yesterday. If you guys haven't checked out yesterday's show, go back and check out yesterday's show on the DSM Media YouTube page. Again, make sure you hit like and subscribe on this video on YouTube when you're watching it on replay. Everybody have a great Thursday. Hey, nobody can lose today. The Phillies aren't playing. So there's going to be no negativity today.
I mean, the Flyers could do something dumb again and trading JVR anyway. And
just
then that would
imagine
really get you
how
going.
important Twitter is to Philadelphia sports, fans.
It's up.
If
It's
it's
up.
down, all that emotion builds up and then just bursts out after it being down and everything. All right, everybody have a great day. We'll talk to you tomorrow, everybody. Have a great one. And I don't know. I always say ring the bell, go Birds. What do you say about the Flyers?
They suck.